Guys, I love Devil May Cry, and if you're watching this video, you probably do too. I've played all the games except for number 2 because that was straight dog.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
After playing all the Devil May Cry games, or well, most of the Devil May Cry games, I can easily see how someone could fit this into a show format. I'm thinking it's like a no-brainer. The games have already done all the heavy lifting for the writers. All they have to do is find the best way to implement it into a show. So I'm thinking, like, if anybody was to get a hold of this, like, it shouldn't be too hard for them to, you know, make a series out of it or so. And then there's Adi Shankar. The man, the myth, the legend himself. Hey guys, this is your favorite yapper, Gem Talks. Well, in case you guys can't read, this video is actually going to be about the latest season of the new Netflix series Devil May Cry, created by Adi Shankar. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I actually liked season 1 of Devil May Cry, even though a lot of people actually hated on season 1. I actually liked season 1. I actually thought it was a lot better than this current season, with just a lot of things that they really just did really wrong. They just really missed. I ain't gonna lie, they missed with a whole heap of things. What the heck was Adi smoking? Don't get me wrong, season 1 definitely had its flaws. It wasn't perfect, but it definitely did not have as many flaws as this season. Like, this season is on a whole nother level. And, you know, due to the fact that a lot of people have been anticipating this season ever since, you know, the sneak peek of Vergil, and what comes with that is a lot of pressure and expectations. So naturally, people were gonna be a lot harder on this season. But it is not all bad, guys, because believe it or not, I actually still like this season. Like, it was still entertaining for me overall, but I did have a couple gripes with a couple of things. Vergil and Dante. This whole video is practically just about those two. I'm not gonna lie, because I have so much to say about those two. Vergil and Dante are like the real MCs. Everybody loves them. They're the mascots, all right? Those two matter the most out of every other character when it comes to this series. Adi, he did them both so dirty. We have a whole leap to say on that, but we'll get there when we get there. Okay, so I'm probably gonna structure this video into 3 parts, where I talk about all the things I loved about this season, and then I'll have 2 other sections where I talk about my gripes with both Vergil and Dante, because what has Adi done to our boys? And I'll add in little extras on other things that I potentially didn't like or so. Alright, so first we're starting with the things I did like about this season. One of the first things that comes to my mind is the music. Oh my goodness, they was cooking with them songs, bro. Especially that first song that plays at the very beginning. To tell the truth, I am getting away with murder. The aura that was resonating from Lady was on something else, but that music was hitting. All of them practically are all bangers. I'm not even really much of a rock fan, you know, I don't really listen to rock like that. I'm more of a rap kind of guy, or R&B, but you know, I was still messing with it. I'm like, wow, this really sounds tough. Speaking of the music, we could perfectly talk about the fights, because this is a perfect transition into the fights. The fights are honestly amazing in this show. With Lady, she was going crazy. She had a move, she was doing her thing. Dante and Vergil, they popped off, you know, they fought a good amount of times, which was really nice. Got that good fan service. You love to see it, especially during the fights. The music was hitting. Woo! The animation was honestly flawless. I think the animation was actually better this season than it was last season. Everything looked clean. I also really like the new intro. I love the animation for the new intro. It looks amazing. The music is also really good for it too. The colors, the way it all looks. I love that it just pops out so much. I love the fact that we get more backstories with Dante and Vergil as them as children. I always thought that stuff was very interesting every time it was on screen. And I also love the fact that we also got a lot of backstory with Sparta, which is crazy because we never get any backstory with Sparta, like real backstory, like where it actually shows us like Sparta in his prime, finding Mundus. Like, we never actually got to ever see this in any sort of DMC media till now. So wow, the one really good thing that came out of this, good job, Adi, you did great. They actually let Dante be a little over the top with a couple scenes here and there, but like not a lot, which is a shame, because it would have been nice if we had a couple more scenes of Dante kind of going crazy. But you know, hey, we'll save that for later. Y'all need to be patient, okay? Patience. We'll get there. I thought that the relationship that was betrayed between Dante and Vergil was done pretty well. They can get pretty competitive with one another. There's a lot of friction and bad blood between the two brothers, which is good, because that's the way it really should be between these two, especially considering how they haven't seen each other in years. And I'm just like really happy that the show actually allows the brothers to sit down and like really have a conversation with one another, so they could both hear each other's truths to help them both have a better understanding of one another. And I'm happy they actually do that. You know, it's not just a bunch of dumb violence between the two brothers just fighting. Oh my gosh, Dante and Vergil are fighting. Yay, yay, yay. There's actual substance and depth in their conflict, and I love it. As DMC fans, we just love to see Vergil and Dante together on screen. Like, anytime you see them on screen together, everybody starts getting hyped up because you know they about to turn up. And there are a lot of times in the show where they do work together to take out demons and stuff. And yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, you're watching these two just go crazy, do their thing. And it's like, yeah, this is what we came to see. It's just a whole leap of fan service, so I can't complain. Like, we was eating good. I actually thought they did the villain pretty good. I don't remember his name, but the one that needed the chalice and stuff. Like I said before, guys, I've never played DMC 2, and I probably never will. And I'm pretty sure he's the main villain from DMC 2. And I've heard a lot of people say that he is a better villain in the show than he was in the game because he feels more fleshed out. But this is just what I've been hearing online, so if you guys could confirm that for me, that would be nice. Honestly, I think that's it. I think those are like all the good things that I could think of that I really liked about this season. All right, with all that out of the way, so now we can finally get down to the nitty gritty and actually talk about the stuff that I actually didn't like about this season, or should I say the 2 things that I didn't like about this season. All right, let's get into it.
Oh my god, what happened to Vergil? What happened to Vergil? Oh my god.
All right, I'm gonna start off with Vergil because I feel like it'll be too easy to dunk on Dante right now. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest. So we're gonna start it off with Vergil, and then we're gonna leave Dante for last because I have so much to say about Dante, but I also have a lot to say about Vergil. But because Vergil is such a hot topic, and considering how he's so new to the season and to the series, I feel like it just makes more sense to start with him. So I'm gonna tell you guys. All right, so I'm gonna give you guys a quick rundown of the type of character that Vergil is in the games, so that way to the people who only know DMC through the series could actually understand who Vergil actually is as a character. Because once you understand who Vergil is as a character, you can see that the series clearly doesn't understand. Vergil's backstory is a lot different in the Netflix show than it is in the comics. Both stories are tragic and leave us with 2 different Vergils. Okay, we're gonna start with the show's backstory. Mundus and the demons, they attack Vergil and Dante and the mom while they're in the house, and Vergil was not in the same area where Dante and the mom were at, so the mom just took Dante and hid him in the closet. Then she went off to go look for Vergil, and then she died. As you guys know, Vergil ends up getting caught by the demons. He gets brought back to Mundus. Mundus keeps him as a prisoner, then tortures him, and then saves him, then gives him the Yamato, and then he becomes an apprentice to Mundus, and that's Vergil's whole backstory in the show. Now, I thought it was kind of weird the way that they changed Vergil's backstory so drastically, because guys, I'm all for change, but like not on this level where it completely just changes the character completely. And on top of that, Dante's backstory stayed practically the same. So why not Vergil? Like, what? Like, oh my god, what happened to Vergil? Okay, so Vergil's backstory in the official Devil May Cry manga, which is canon, by the way, to the games. Dante started making fun of Vergil, started teasing him, trying to grab his attention because, you know, he's bored or something. It leads them into getting into a fight, and then Dante gets hurt. The mom hears the ruckus, and then she enters the room, and then she gets mad at Vergil because Dante is the only one hurt to her knowledge. Vergil was obviously upset about it because it wasn't his fault, so he ran out of the house straight for the cemetery. That's when the demons appeared on him at the cemetery. Vergil tried to get away, he tried to run, but they caught up to him eventually. They stabbed him, they pinned him down to the ground, started stabbing him in his hands and feet to keep him pinned down. It's pretty gruesome, I can't lie. Dante and the mom were at the house. Vergil was all alone, he had nobody. He was calling out for them, but nobody came. In that moment, Vergil was scared and alone. Vergil was helpless, or should I say, powerless in this situation. And just when Vergil was thinking that he was gonna die there and his mom left him all alone, that's when he was able to summon the Yamato with his own power, by the way, his own power, because I guess in the states of mind that he was in the grief and the betrayal and the despair, somehow it made him unlock the Yamato. I don't really know, but either way, the whole point is he unlocked the Yamato. He obtained the Yamato himself and killed all those demons. And that night is what completely changed Vergil into the person he is today. He learned a very valuable lesson that day, that nobody's gonna be there to save you, and the only person that can save you is yourself. You have no one else to rely on but yourself. You can't rely on anybody else, can't trust anybody else. You only have you, yourself. And that's exactly why he must strive for power, because he never wants to be that little boy again.
Might controls everything, and without strength, You cannot protect anything, let alone yourself.
Okay, so now that you guys understand who Vergil is as a character, it should help you guys understand why what they did in the show completely just destroys Vergil as a character. Okay, see, I understood what they were trying to go for with the whole Vergil working with Mundus. I understood what they were trying to do. But you guys have to understand, Mundus being the one that saves Vergil and practically just hands everything to Vergil is a complete assassination to Vergil's character. It's not even the same character anymore. Listen, the only how Vergil will ever, and I mean ever, work with anybody is if he has like some sort of ulterior motives, okay? He's never just gonna work with somebody just to work with them. And if he does work with that person, he's going to let it be known to that other person that he's the one calling the shots. We know this from DMC 3 when Vergil was working with Arkham, and the whole time he was just using Arkham to just get what he wants. And then at the very end, when he was done using Arkham, he kills him. Now, Vergil being an apprentice to Mundus just doesn't work in this case for the show, because Vergil does not have no ulterior motives or anything like that. Like, he actually genuinely messes with Mundus. Like, he actually sees him as a king and his savior and all that. Like, it's ridiculous, because we know Vergil would never do this. He would never be out here bowing his head down to nobody. Now, believe it or not, they actually did something similar to this in the first DMC game. Now, the reason why it worked so well in the first DMC game when Vergil was working for Mundus was because Vergil was actually a slave to Mundus at that time. Like, Mundus, he had some sort of control over Vergil, and Vergil had no control over his body or anything, and he was controlling Vergil like a puppet. And that is the only reason why that worked. If they did something like that, which is what I thought they were doing originally in the show, this whole thing could have worked perfectly fine. I actually don't mind the new additions that Addy wanted to add to it, because it is kind of interesting the way he was going about it. But what I'm saying is, he could have still done what he wanted to do, but also still make us happy. All they had to do was let Vergil still have his character defining moment, right? Have him save himself with the Yamato. Then after that, all they had to do was simply just make Mundus summon a bunch of demons. Vergil gets overwhelmed. They end up still capturing him anyways, and then he's a slave to Mundus for a good while, a prisoner, this, that, and then later on down the line, Vergil ends up becoming Nilo Angelo because, you know, Mundus ends up controlling him while he was a kid, and he started controlling him when he was young till he's a grown man now. And it could have worked. And then we skip to Vergil and Dante. They're having their first face-off after years of not seeing each other, right? But instead, Vergil is going to be Nilo Angelo, and Dante's not going to know that that's Vergil. And as the fight goes on, Dante starts to realize that this guy seems kind of familiar, and Vergil kind of starts to recognize Dante the more the fight goes on. And then he starts getting flashbacks of their childhood, and he starts remembering who he is and this and that. And maybe the Vergil's face starts phasing in and out, like with the Nilo Angelo form. It's because he's starting to get confused, and Dante eventually notices that that's Vergil under, or could be Vergil under there. So then he starts talking to him, and then starts getting into Vergil's head even more. And then boom, just have Mundus lose control over Vergil, or maybe he doesn't know that he's lost control over Vergil yet until later on down the line. Vergil just pretends to be working for Mundus now, right? Because he's just trying to secretly use Mundus to, I don't know, open the portal to the Demon Realm to get power, you know, just like as it plays out in the show, right? We could have easily have done that, and then, I don't know, like, during the third act, we could have, like, Vergil just randomly backstab Mundus, like, literally backstab Mundus. So, two things get done here. Vergil still, you know, remains the same character at his core, the Vergil that we all know, that all the DMC fans know, and on top of that, the new additions are still being used the same way that the writers intended it to be used, and everyone's happy at the end of the day. So, yo, let me know if you guys think I cooked with these ideas though. And Nilo Angelo just doesn't work for this narrative. It kind of seems pointless to even have him in the show because they don't really use him like at all. Okay, so Vergil had the Nilo Angelo fit on, right? And he was linking up with the lady with the red hair. I don't know her name, I always forget it. She was able to guess that that was Vergil right off the bat, right? And Vergil was like, he seemed surprised that she was able to figure it out so quickly. It's almost as if Vergil was trying to keep it a secret. At least that was the impression that I was getting based off of the scene and the way it played out. I remember there was this other scene where the demons were being held captive in a prison by the US military. Okay, so Vergil literally slides there for literally a couple seconds as Nilo Angelo frees everybody and then just takes his fit right off right after. For what reason, nobody knows. But this is what I'm talking about. It's like, okay, so if you're not even trying to really keep it a secret like that, why are you acting as if you were? And now that you have the form that you've always wanted, Why don't you just stick with it? Like, why do you keep switching in and out of the form? Like, guys, I'm telling you, he never stays in his Nilo Angelo form for longer than like a minute, bro. Seriously. There might be maybe 1 or 2 scenes where he's in it for a good bit because he's flying somewhere. But even then, those scenes don't really last too long. Long story short, Nilo Angelo was a wasted form that Vergil barely used. And it's not even like he got some sort of power up from it. If anything, it seems like he was weaker when he was using that form. That's probably why he had to keep switching back to his default every time he was fighting somebody. And it would probably not make a difference to the story at all. Everything would probably still play out the same whether you had Nilo Angelo involved or not. It just feels like cheap fan service, which is what it is. Alright, so there's this other scene where Vergil pulls up on the military, right? And he's ready to throw hands with these losers, you know what I'm saying? And we already know Vergil's mad fast. He's just as fast as Dante, if not even faster. So some soldiers with these like high-tech guns should not be able to even touch Vergil. They shouldn't even be able to keep up with Vergil. I'm sure you guys could guess what happened next. They were shooting at Vergil, which Vergil should have been able to dodge easily, which he was doing until he started getting hit, which was very concerning considering how fast we all know Vergil is. He should not be getting hit by any of these guns, nowhere near close to getting hit by any of these guns. Even Dante in season 1 was dodging bullets, which were way faster than these new guns that they're shooting at Vergil. Now this is bad because it makes Vergil not look as strong and as capable as we all know him to be. Bro, I just hate this trend where they nerf a character that we all know is supposed to be mega powerful. Why do you think a lot of people complain about the power scaling in Invincible and The Boys? It's because it's mad inconsistent. And then little things that we know that they should easily be able to avoid, they eventually start getting hit by, all for the plot. And there's nothing wrong with there being, you know, plot contrivances here and there, but it has to also make sense to the story and for the character. Oh, don't think I forgot about you. Don't worry, wait your turn. We'll be moving on to you real soon. Another thing that really ticked me off about Vergil was his big mouth. Him going on live TV, telling everybody the lore and the backstory, like that just wasn't a thing that Vergil would do. He's not the type of person that'll be spreading his business all out there for everybody. Like, he's never been the type of person to be in the spotlight. Like, he kind of just does things on his own. He tries to keep things more low-key, and he would never be telling everybody his intentions. Vergil keeps his intentions to himself, and if he's ever telling you his intentions, it's already too late. Like, it's GG's, because whatever that was, he's already about to get it done, or is getting it done right now. That's literally his whole thing. Like, is it just me, or has Vergil been yapping more than Dante? Like, there are times where bro is just yapping so much. Like, Vergil does not talk this much, bro. Like, he's always talking in this show. Bro always starts going on a rant and then just starts glazing Mundus. Like, shut up. I don't think Addy actually understands Vergil. Like, he's an isolated character. Everybody knows this about Vergil. Vergil's always trying to do things on his own. Dante, there are times where years upon years passes and Dante hasn't seen Vergil and doesn't know what he's doing or where he's at. And even if you wanted to say that Mundus told Vergil to go tell everyone his plans, I don't think that we even saw that on screen. I don't remember Mundus ever telling Vergil to do that. But if he did do that, I might be wrong about that. So I'm sorry if I'm wrong about that, but I don't remember him telling Vergil to go on the live news and tell everybody your backstory. Like, all right, this is gonna be the last thing I say about Vergil, I promise. Vergil just wasn't using his powers at their best capabilities. He kind of did like one little cool thing with a bullet where he kind of like enhanced it with his own power, but I never really saw Vergil like summoning like daggers or a bunch of swords all around him, kind of like how he does in the games, which is ironic considering how he was trapped in the demon realm being trained by the king of the demons. He does do like the whole dimension cutting thing, which is pretty cool, but like that's pretty much it. And he just uses regular sword attacks. We want to see Vergil use more of his demon powers, especially considering that Vergil doesn't really use any other weapons besides his Yamato. And he makes up for the fact that he only has one weapon by using his demon abilities, which allows him to summon blades and daggers and stuff that help support his main weapon. And it switches up his fighting style, makes the combat scenarios more interesting. It'll also show us that Vergil has better control over his demon powers than Dante. But most importantly, it also shows us that Vergil has technique, something he literally can't stop yapping about when he's fighting Dante. But Vergil only using his sword for like practically every fight, it just gets kind of boring and dull after a while, you know? Like, Devil May Cry at its core is a power fantasy. That's why so many people love it. We want to see Vergil doing everything that we can see him do in the games, man. But anyways, I think we dunked on Vergil enough, okay? That's about all I have to say about that. And now, for what you've all been waiting for, we are going to talk about the victim to all of this, Dante.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
What did they do to Dante? They turned this guy into a bitch! Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what got over me there. Y'all remember playing DMC and just feeling unstoppable as Dante? Like, every scene he was in, he was practically outshining like everybody. And then you see Dante doing like the craziest things that you could ever think of in cutscenes, and you're just like, yeah, that's him. That is our guy. That is our main character right there. And it seems like the writers for the show kind of just forget that Dante is the main character. In this season, Dante's been through the ringer this season, truly. He's always getting outshined left and right, and it's quite annoying because we know who Dante is. He should be taking that spotlight in almost every scene. All right, let's get the quick little Lady and Dante stuff out of the way real quick. I actually don't mind Dante and Lady getting together. A lot of people are saying that they wouldn't get together, this, that, the third from the games, but I actually think they would, especially because of the third game is why I definitely think they would. They share a lot of trauma, and they kind of bonded over it, and they also learned to understand each other, because at the beginning when they first met each other, it was like very rocky, right? The relationship, she didn't trust Demon, she didn't trust him, and then later on when she found out the whole truth and he found out about her, they learned to accept each other and understand each other a lot better, and then the relationship ended up smoothing out towards the end. So I really feel like these characters probably would date. If they actually wanted to go down that route in the games, it probably could work. And let's just be honest, if any of y'all were in Dante's shoes, I'm sure y'all would have got with her too. It's not even like the relationship lasted anyways, if you could even call that. It was more like a fling, because right after they had their little lovey-dovey moments, she ended up leaving towards the end. So and considering we're on the topic of Lady, I actually like the fact that they toned down the swearing, because in the first season it was honestly just ridiculous. And a lot of people are calling Lady a hypocrite for telling that 8-year-old granddaughter of the guru to not swear when she did. For all the people saying that, are you guys like, is something wrong with you guys? So just because Lady swore a lot, that means that she shouldn't tell a child to not swear? It's like you guys are forgetting that Lady is an adult. She's allowed to swear. So it doesn't really matter if she's looking like a hypocrite. That's like if one of your parents told you to not swear, but you always hear your parents swear, or you hear them swear sometimes. Does that mean that they shouldn't tell you to not swear? No, of course they should tell you to not swear, bruh. You're a damn child. You shouldn't be swearing. All right, that's enough of the Lady side tangent. Now let's get back to the main show. Dante got nerfed heavily this season. Like every fight that he's in, he always ends up losing somehow, and if not losing, struggling way more than he should be. And I know he mows down a lot of other like lower class demons with Vergil and whatnot, but I'm talking about like the main fights, like the ones that actually matter, like when Dante and Lady are supposed to be guarding the mansion from those demons getting the talisman that they're trying to destroy. Lady and Dante start getting overwhelmed after a while, and Dante ends up using his devil trigger. After activating his devil trigger, he went crazy for a bit, but then he still ended up losing at the end. And that's another thing, Dante's devil trigger doesn't feel nearly as strong as it should. Like when he went into devil trigger, he should have been taking out all the demons. He should have cleared out the whole mansion all on his own. Dante's devil trigger brings his demon powers to its absolute peak, making him practically unstoppable. The biggest appeal towards Dante is just how OP he is. He practically wins against every demon he fights in the game. In fact, it's so rare for a demon to even make this guy break a sweat. Hence the reason why he doesn't really take his encounters with demons that serious, because he already knows he can beat them, and so do we. And I actually think that Addy has a personal favoritism towards Vergil, considering how he's the main guy always outperforming Dante. In like every scene, Dante's like Vergil's personal punching bag, literally and figuratively. Dante loses against Vergil every time they fight. Now, the first time Dante and Vergil fight, I don't have a problem with Dante losing the first time, because that's actually what happens in DMC 3. But then the second fight, where, you know, everybody's depending on Dante and we're expecting him to go crazy this time, he ends up losing again, even worse than the first time he fought Vergil. In the third game, Dante beat Vergil the second time they fought, and it was a close match, but Dante still ended up winning at the very end, when it mattered most. Vergil and Dante are supposed to be equals. That's kind of like their whole shtick. So every fight should be very close, and it can either go one way or the other. But the Netflix series makes it seem as if Vergil is stronger than Dante, like there's some sort of power gap between the two. and that's just not the way it's supposed to be. Also, what's up with Dante's healing? Why is his so much slower than Vergil's? Dante gets impaled all the time. In fact, he's known for getting impaled and walking it off like it's nothing.
Over the years, I've been stabbed and jabbed by a number of things.
Vergil got stabbed by Dante, and he healed from it perfectly fine and quick. Dante gets stabbed by the same sword that Vergil got stabbed with, by the way, and all of a sudden now Dante can't heal.
What the hell is this?
Also, we never catch Dante ever like really dual wielding, which is surprising because they did a little bit of this in season 1 when Dante used a motorcycle, which is a callback to DMC 5, to attack Agni and Rudra. He gets Ebony and Ivory, which is pretty cool, and he barely uses them. But even then, Dante using Ebony and Ivory, I wouldn't really consider that to be like dual wielding, even though that's literally what that is. I wouldn't consider it to be dual wielding for Dante, considering how Ebony and Ivory is kind of part of his default set. So you know how military scientists kind of built Dante's Ebony and Ivory? Why couldn't the military make weapons out of Agni and Rudra's DNA or something? They could have been like, oh, we genetically altered their DNA into these 2 elemental blades that Dante can now use, like in the show, like, and it would have made sense because they kind of did that with Ebony and Ivory, and the military is so prominent in this series that them making a weapon for Dante like this would make sense for this narrative. Plus, Dante dual wielding is like a big part of his character. It's one of the main things that separate Dante from Vergil. Vergil only uses 1 weapon. Meanwhile, Dante uses a buttload to match his more sporadic and wild side. Dante dual wielding just makes him look more capable to the audience. It just shows off a lot of his skills and how versatile Dante is. He can adapt quickly and he can master any weapon after the first time of him using it, which shows how quick of a learner he is. It's one of the things that make him such a unstoppable, likable, crazy force of nature. And half the time, Dante doesn't even feel like the main character. You got Vergil out here always outshining Dante. Like Vergil casually mastering double trigger after his first time transforming, unlike Dante, who still can't master it and should already know how to up to this point, considering how he's transformed multiple times before Vergil ever could. I should have said this in the Vergil section, but I guess it kind of works for the Dante section because, you know, this is kind of a skill issue thing. I don't mind Vergil learning it quick. I mean, it technically kind of does make sense being in the demon realm for all that time. Like, if anything, you think he would have learned it sooner. I feel like for that to really work properly, they should have made it to where Dante already learned it from season 1, or if not learned it from season 1, learned it earlier in season 2, and then Vergil masters it and everything works out fine. It just seems like the writing team doesn't really have respect or love for their so-called main character, and that's pretty much all I really got to say about Dante. I can't really think of anything else that really bothered me like that. I'm sure there definitely are more things, but I wasn't really trying to be too nitpicky about this. Plus, this video is already long enough as it is. But what about you guys? What did you guys think about this season? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was better than the first season? And if so, why? All right, that's going to be it for today, though, guys. I'm going to catch you on the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you made it this far to the very end of the video, thank you so much. I assume you liked the video if you're still here. So you might as well, you know, like and subscribe. Please and thank you. And I hope you all have a good day.
I should have been the one to fill your dark soul with light!